Hello, and welcome to Return of Living Geeks, a podcast where we geek out about our favorite films and television shows, both old and new. I'm your host, Michael Vaughn. I am a writer for Geek Vibes Nation, and my previous bylines include Films in Review, Screen Magazine, and AMC's The Bite. I'm also the author of a book called The Ultimate Guide to Strange Cinema. Currently, I also co-host another podcast called Humanoids from the Deep Dive. And we got some really awesome co-hosts. So take it away. Introduce yourself.
Juwaan, owner of GVN here. I'm really excited to be part of this. Mike hit me up about it, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta work, to get the right time for it, and we got today for it. So I'm glad to be here, and we're welcoming in a good friend of mine, Joe.
Yes, I'm Joe from Just Your Average Joe, independent label. small time YouTuber from Brooklyn. How are you?
He is your friendly neighborhood podcaster, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So I thought we could kick it off with talking about the finale of Chucky. First of all, I think it's such a great show. I think it's definitely a series that I had a little trepidation, but I actually think that it's like the writing is really great. I think, yeah. Well, I'll. What do you gents think about it? First off,
I hate the writing. I think that is the best worst show ever. But it works because Chucky is amazing. Chucky just lives up to the bill. So I think as long as you can have Chucky be as strong as he is in this series, that you can have this to continue to grow. But I think if anything, this series showed that there are a lot of horror franchises that are probably better consumed episodically than as full-length movies. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this. I do believe that if you want to revamp Nightmare on Elm Street, it should be episodic. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it can't be as genuine as it needs. Chucky said the F word 1 billion times. And this was on USA at 10 o'clock, not at 3 in the morning, at 10 o'clock. So wherever something like Nightmare on Elm Street ends up, it could still be authentic. But I think you give yourself a chance to expand more, where you're not forcing so much in one movie. And then if that movie doesn't sell, you got to toss it, wait another 10 years to start all over again. This way, people can consume it better. It's slower. It has its chance to kind of expand, and you can come right back into it. So me personally, Chucky worked as a series. And Mancini and that entire team did a great job. I'm glad it got renewed. And I know I'm sounding like I'm confusing saying how horrible it was, but I did enjoy the series for what it was. And like I said, Chucky was great.
How about you, Joe? What did you think of it?
I think I'm the opposite. After watching the whole season, and I only say this though too, not that I didn't enjoy it. There were parts that I did enjoy. I also agree with Juwaan. I wasn't crazy about the writing. I thought, especially the scenes with the legacy character and Andy, I thought very stale acting. I was not crazy about his scenes at all. Yeah. But after seeing what they did, obviously not counting the reboot, but after what they did in with Curse of Chucky and The Cult of Chucky, and seeing those two movies and how well they were, especially coming off of Seed, I actually did like Bride. I know Juwaan doesn't like Bride of Chucky. I did like Bride of Chucky. I saw it in the theater. I was very entertained. I liked that Chucky was a little bit more humorous. I also like when they did that with Freddy Krueger to an extent, but then after 5, it just got crazy. But anyway, to get back to Chucky, I liked what they did with Cult and Curse. So I don't know if I like it as a show yet. Maybe after a second season, maybe I can tell a little bit more. But, like I said, maybe I just need another season. But I kind of prefer movies. I really do.
So here's kind of where I kind of defend the writing. Like, I think it definitely purposely gets kind of campy and outrageous, but I I think what I liked is how they juggled being a sequel and a soft reboot, and how they were able to pull in all the other films while also kind of continuing the story. And I feel like that couldn't have been easy because, I mean, you kind of like, you have a diehard fan base you want to please, but then you also don't want to alienate maybe new people to the franchise. And I think they kind of walked a pretty good line between um pleasing the fans and kind of introducing like a new audience to Chucky. So that's where I thought it was really clever at times. Especially like the little Easter eggs that were definitely meant for like diehard fans, like just maybe one little line here or there. So
Yeah, no, I mean, there was, I didn't see the last two, not including this reboot movie with Aubrey Plaza. So Joe was kind of filling in some of the blanks for me with Nika was a character that I didn't know because I didn't see those last two movies. But no, the only reason why I said I didn't like where Chucky went was only because when you grow up on Child's Play, and it's very much just like your cute, adorable doll turn crazy killer, but he's still adorable. It's like, okay, cool. And then I remember seeing Bride of Chucky with my dad, and I remember going, what is this? Like him just like, get the fuck over here if I slit you. It's like, what is happening? Like, what did you do to Chucky? So I was just never a fan of it. But this show, it handles its humor very well. But I will side with you on, because I even said this to Joe when we did our rewatch of Scream. Scream is bad on purpose, right? Like Scream is trying to be jokey about it's matter, the dialogue, whatever. So I'm like, what if Mancini was aiming for that for Chucky? Like Chucky's not meant to be an Oscar nominated drama, you know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be entertaining. So maybe he just went super overboard and super weird, but that's what he was aiming for. And if that's genius. If it's not, again, he's very lucky. Chucky is amazing, because if he wasn't, I couldn't have done this whole season.
Now, have you seen Curse of Chucky? That was like the first like kind of like soft reboot. It was like the first direct to, I think, video Chucky movie.
Wait, it wasn't the Cult of Chucky or anything like that?
Well, so Cult of Chucky was like the one after it. So it's like they were like the two kind of standalone reboot kind of things.
Yeah, Joe would know that better than me. I think I stopped after Seed.
Oh, okay.
That's the last thing I saw.
I only mention that because it kind of takes Chucky back to like more of like a less jokey. It's a little more like straight up horror, with some with humor in it, obviously. But like if you kind of dug more of the like original kind of tone wise, you probably would like that one because it's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked how dry Child's Play was, because it was meant to be something that if your kid ever got a wind of, he'd be terrified for like the rest of his life. And then you get to Bride of Chucky, and it's just trying to be balls to the wall crazy, and it's like that was a lot. That was asking a lot of me as the viewer, who only knew Child's Play, to come into something that drastically different.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it tonally, it does take a hard turn. Although even kind of, like even rewatching the series, even like the first movie kind of had some intentionally kind of tongue-in-cheek moments. There was that scene in the first one where they leave Chucky in an elevator, and some old lady's like, "Ooh, that's an ugly doll," and all you hear is "fuck you."
Right? Yeah.
Right. So So what did you think of the finale, the final episode of
I don't know. I don't know what to make of that finale. I think if I had to be honest, the best part was Chucky's wrap up. at the end.
Yeah.
It was probably my favorite part of everything. Just a few things bothered me. I won't be long-winded here. I still don't understand how you have little to no evidence against the teacher. You arrest her, and then it
Yeah.
takes very little to no evidence to release her. Like I don't understand how anything that happened in that theater meant that she didn't kill the principal.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they didn't even think like, oh, there could be just multiple killers. So I'm like, if you release her just that quickly, that means your evidence against her wasn't that strong.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that they maybe dive into season 2 about some of that, maybe.
Well, I wish Joe's trying to fix his connection, but Joe was saying that it was possible that one of his kids could have consumed the teacher. But I was saying that would have been a really cool thing for us to see if Chucky, when he was doing his wrap up, was going through his kills and said, but I never understood who killed the principal, because that wasn't me. And then like we did like a flashback scene of the teacher actually doing it, and we find out like, oh my God, his daughter is inside the teacher's body and she's the one that did it. And then we can go, oh, we got to keep an eye out for her. She's dangerous going forward. But the fact that they didn't do that, it's like, well, now if you do it, it kind of seems forced. It seems like you listen to our podcast and then you're like, oh, that's a good idea.
No, that's really interesting. That's an interesting point. I didn't even really consider that. No, but it's I don't know. I feel like the series kind of gave me everything I wanted out of a Chucky series, and I know I said this in my episode 1 about talking about Chucky. I think it has maybe the best gay characters.
Yes.
Full stop on TV. Like, and who would have thought that it would be the Chucky series? You know?
Yeah. I mean, they handled it really well. I even thought the joke about being gay that Chucky delivered at the end was even delivered in a way that it wasn't meant to be destructive. It was meant to kind of just, you know what I'm saying, to kind of just allude to just being just too overtly sappy. You know what I'm saying? Not meant to say that there was anything wrong. Because Mancini, who I believe Joe said is actually gay, it was very important to him to structure this show the way that they did. I always said I wish they kind of dealt with Jake better, because they made it seem in the first few episodes that Jake was weird because he was gay, rather than he's just different and he just so happens to be gay. Like there's no correlation to the two. So I wish they fleshed that out just a little bit better. But to me, and Joe's popping back in now, so Joe can speak to it a little bit better. But they handled it well. And like I said, I need more shows. I need more shows to do that.
Sorry, guys.
So it's more, no, you're good, Joe. So it's more natural. So we don't look at it and go, wow, they really did. It's more natural. Like if 2 straight people were the lead characters of the Chucky show. Yeah,
and I think again, this was like something that Michael and I talked about, where we thought that, I mean, at least kind of like from my viewpoint, they balanced it really well, because like you have to kind of bring it up, but then they didn't, like they treated it so naturally, like it was just like you said, like echoing what you just said about like it's just any other couple. So we'll let Joe weigh in since he's back now.
So Joe,
what did I miss?
We were talking about this, and I gave you credit because I was
Thank
talking
you, by
about
the way.
how I got your back. How the whole thing with the teacher, how it was not enough evidence, and miraculously it was so much evidence to free her. But kind of speak to, Joe, the inclination you had on who could maybe have been possessing her. Clearly, it looks like they weren't going that route. But for a second, it might have felt like maybe they were.
Yeah, no, if they were going to go that route, which I believe, and you and I both talked about it, it's definitely too late to bring that up. I'm not saying that they can't in season 2 and somehow, but it did look like, and there were theories behind that would have been possibly the daughter, Glenda, that took over that. And that's, the whole red hair. And there's something, there was definitely something that was pointing us as the audience towards her in the beginning, but it ended up being nothing. We also talked about how great would it have been, because you even said it. I want to give you credit now, credit back. And I don't know if you had just talked about this because I was off, but you had said, wouldn't it have been great at that scene at the end when Chucky was narrating, going over his kills, and he turned around and said, you know what, though? What I can't figure out is who killed the principal. Right. And us as the audience find out right there and then that the teacher was the one that actually did it. So again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating anything, but I did like that theory as well, or that I would have liked that as a scene as well.
Yeah, I know Mancini's gonna probably see this episode and go, I'm gonna bring these guys into the writer's room. That was pretty awesome. Because I mean, it would have caught us all off guard, because we're not the only ones who were like, there wasn't any evidence against the teacher. Like, the cop literally walked up to her and said, "You're the last person to see the principal." And it's like, well, she's my boss. That's not out of the realm of.
Imagine they would have arrested. They took a student in, and like, what? You're the last person to see your teacher. I go to class.
Right, like I was being tutored. Like, what's the crime here? Like, so yeah. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was a lot of hits and misses with this finale, but overall, I was very happy to see that they were coming back for a season 2. Because, you don't ever want something with a character as big as Chucky to just die off or dwindle away, or I got to wait another decade for another one. So, keep bringing me back Chucky. And as long as Chucky's there and is good, I'll keep watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I guess with final thoughts, I agree. It's definitely like, I think overall the series kind of had some hit or misses, but like I said, I think it was more hits. I think I definitely did like the I don't know. I think that they really walked a really good line as far as like horror comedy just being totally over the top. The finale had Chucky stabbing people in the butt in a theater. I mean, who doesn't want that?
So, Michael, who do you think had the best arc?
Oh, good question. I would have to say like Jake, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think that whole relationship was a really cool kind of again, it was handled really well, and I think probably was like I said, kind of one of the most authentic and nuanced kind of gay couples that I've seen, like on some, I mean, even like some legit dramas kind of have a problem with that. So but again, it's like we were saying, it's like this series has always kind of been grounded in camp and like queerness. So it was kind of cool to actually see that, like, like at the forefront. I mean, like, it was kind of cool that they brought Glenn or Glenda back, which I kind of heard that season 2 might have like them as a character, like a full character on here. So that would be really awesome.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially since Glenda was named in the season finale by name, with the whole contraption. I was telling Juwaan on one of my shows when we were doing that, I think Lexi, to me personally, had the best arc. And the only reason why I say that, I wanted the character dead in episodes 1 and 2 to her becoming probably one of my favorite characters besides Chucky in the series, and Tiffany. I loved Tiffany's portrayal as well in this series. She's always great. Jennifer Tilly's always great as Tiffany Valentine, and it was great to see the doll version of her again as well. But yeah, Lexi's character, like as I said, because Jake and Devin were consistently, not only in the forefront, but they were consistently, together. And well, not in the very beginning, but I can understand what you're saying with Jake's arc. But to me, like I said, Lexi only because I wanted her dead, and then I ended up loving the character. So I did like how it came full circle. So
I'm going Junior. Junior went full Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 3. To where it's just like, yeah, you gotta die like immediately, and then it's just like, no, I kind of like you, and then it's like, no, you need to die again, and it's just like, damn, you died. I didn't want you to. It's just like I'm just going through so many emotions with this character. So I'm like, as soon as I got finished watching, I'm just like, I haven't felt this divided since Spider-Man 3. Like as soon as Harry hit his head and forgot everything, I was just like, okay, you're tolerable. And there were moments where Junior was like, yeah, Lexi, leave Jake alone. Like, stop picking on him. I'm like, okay, these are some good qualities. And then he just dove right back into douchebaggery. And it was just like, yeah, Chucky, you got to kill him, like, as soon as possible. And then when you finally get to seeing him dead, it's just like, oh, man, I didn't want you to die. Like, I thought I did. Now you are, and it hurts. So, yes, I say he had a full Harry Osborn arc. So I'd say Junior's arc. Because, I mean, he went through the most. Like, if you think about it, he lost the nanny that raised him. Then he lost his mom. Then he lost his girlfriend. Then he killed his dad himself. But still, and then ultimately he was losing himself. So I'm like the kid who was trying to be away from it all, who didn't really see some of how all the other deaths happen and whatnot. Just smack dab right into the middle of it by the end of this series. And I think for him to go out the way that he did, that was 100% the best arc of this series.
Thinking about it too, what's crazy is they all lost a parent in this series.
Each of them, yeah.
Yeah, each of them lost a parent. So.
Funny thing is, only Lexi still has a parent left.
Correct. Yeah.
Everybody
Jake has no
else
guardians.
Like, well,
yeah,
I'm out of family. That was everyone. That's all I got.
And Lexi was the only one to not witness her
parents' death.
Because she was behind the scenes when her dad was killed.
But we did say, Joe, we thought the teacher took in Jake and Devin.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. There'd be no other reason why, or at least one of them. It would be no reason why she was at the funeral or at the headstone.
Devin was saying if he went with his aunt, she couldn't have him forever. At some point, he'd get bounced around. So it makes the most sense that he has every reason to want to stay now, and the teacher, who for some strange reason felt overprotective of those kids, was just like, I'll take them. And it's just like, all right, I don't think that's weird at all. Sure, I guess. All right. like she was really obsessed with Jake. Not obsessed, but like she took it to heart when she saw Lexi and them picking on him. It wasn't just like a traditional teacher like, hey, stop that. He's a good kid, leave him alone. It was more just like, I love him. Stop it. And he was just like, all right, okay. All right.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just maybe writer's convenience, or if they might be planning on something like maybe season 2 with explaining maybe she has some ulterior motives. I mean, that might be, it's probably giving the show way more credit.
I would say so, Mike.
But well, okay, but hear me out. Maybe they could be setting her up as purposely being their ward for some maybe nefarious kind of thing. I don't know. Or again, that's probably reaching, but
no, look, I like that. I could see something as simple as it seems like Chucky and Tiffany are done for, right? The kids got the upper hand, and then you bring in Glenda. Glenda transforms into the teacher, and now the only person that the kids can trust is now the enemy. And
that's a good idea.
We get a little break from Chucky and Tiffany, and then it's Glenda wreaking havoc. And then the season ends with Chucky and Tiffany back, and it's like, oh hell. Like just when we thought everyone was gone and we could live normal lives, the whole damn family's here. You know.
So to that end, I'll wrap up at least talking about Chucky with I know we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but like what would y'all want to see like next season?
I told Joe before, I want to go full John Wick with this. I want you to bring in the whole Chucky family versus Team Andy. And it's just a full out blood war. Because now both sides know exactly about the other. There is no, I got to convince this person of this. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you're capable of. And it's all out war. That's all I want.
The only problem with that is, though, it seems right now, I mean, at least we don't know, because we don't know where that truck is headed, but it seems almost as if it's a traveling show. So with that truck going to another location, what happens now? Is it another town? And are these cast members, who's coming back? You know, and we also speculated who's wearing that glove, which seems to be Kyle, because she's the only character that was wearing gloves in the series. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know, and I also like what Michael was saying, how we could possibly get something from Glenda in the teacher, you know, if that's the route they want to go, if they want to wrap it up. Although I'm also with you, Juwaan, I feel like they had that window and they blew it.
Yeah,
they did, but they still can turn it around. You know, I don't think she was mentioned. I mean, he did mention Glenn as well earlier in the show. But at the same time, Glenda was mentioned more so, not only by name, but at an opportune time when they showed off the bomb. So it's definitely showing that she does still have an evil side. So I'm curious. I probably would want to know who's coming back before I can even speculate what kind of show it's going to be.
I think it would be really interesting if they could get Chris Sarandon back. He was the cop in the first film.
Yeah.
And Catherine Hicks, who she seems like she's pretty down to like participate in conventions and do interviews. I believe that she met her husband on Child's Play 1.
Okay. Which was he part of the crew? Yeah,
I think he was. My gosh, I'm sorry. I'm looking it up right now because I'm.
No, go ahead. I'll talk while you look it up, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin Yeager. That's the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I personally, it does matter who's coming back. But like I told Joe, if I didn't see these kids ever again, I would be 100% okay with it. Yeah. I'm fine if we get an all new cast,
new story.
Yeah, and look, we could get something to where they go to another town and wreak havoc on that town, and then we get something cool. Like they make a phone call and it's Jake that answers. And it's Jake and Devin and what's her name?
Lexi.
Lexi. They come to try to help whoever the new sets of kids are. It should be like it. You know what I'm saying? To where it somewhat changes, but still somehow the people come back. But he does go out and kill other people. Like he doesn't just say, all right, I'm back. Only killing these kids. That's it. I don't even want to see anyone else. Because then it makes it boring. It's like, well, it's trapped to these characters. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, I don't want to see these kids at 18 years old and then see them at 32 years old still being haunted by Chucky. You know what I'm saying? Andy works because it's been so much time in between. But if this is going to be a series, it's like, well, I don't want 4 seasons of just these kids growing up.
Plus his whole, if I'm not mistaken, the whole point to be in that area was what? Because of the childhood home, no?
Right. Yes.
And that blew up.
Yeah.
So he has no ties with that unless it's unfinished business. You know, Chucky is. Maybe he doesn't want to finish. He doesn't want to go anywhere until Jake and the rest of them are dead.
Maybe. But also it's really hot for Chucky right now. Like this is the moment where people might believe a doll was responsible, because it's like to be able to get underneath those seats to stab people in the butt. A human, not even a child, could do that. It's just so small.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if there were ever a time where it'd be plausible, it'd be now. So if I were Chucky, I'd go, well, there's no way I can come back now. Maybe 2 years from now when it all dies down, but not now. I can't come right back.
I think what would be really interesting if you wanted to do the same town, the same maybe some of the same actors or characters, like frame it as someone doing like a true crime podcast and they're talking about the massacre at the town. And
That's what they're doing with Dexter.
Oh, are they? I don't have Showtime, and I kind of hated how Dexter ended. So
It's okay. This makes up for all of that.
Okay.
Like as I'm watching it, the more by each episode, I forget that whole last season.
Here's the other thing, though, you guys are forgetting too. There was a massacre in that theater or whatever town event that was, right? Who are the suspects? They're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, who are like, if Jake was a suspect in the beginning of the show, and he just so happens to be there, nobody really saw what was going on. And I agree. How can you pin it on anybody being of where it was coming from? But who? I that's the other thing too. Like, who are they suspect? Who are they?
Also,
they're
think of it
pinning on
like this. Think of it like this. Lexi's mom was trying her best to kind of bury all of this.
Yeah.
But I could see this as being one of those things to where she lies to the public and says the murderer died in the theater. Like the cops were able to go in there.
Because she doesn't want fear in the town. Okay.
Because it's such a small town.
Yeah.
So picture if no one wants to ever leave their house. You know what I'm saying? Out of fear of being murdered. The town will plummet. You know?
She may not even be mayor anymore. They might be angry at her for what was going on. They were blaming her for a lot of things. They're blaming her for not really caring about the town. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with her as well. So, like, there are things that they need to revisit within this town itself. So I'm not against them coming back on any level, but I also want to see other areas, especially if we have a truck full of Chucky dolls going where we don't even know where. So,
yeah, I did really like, Juwaan, I think you were mentioning this about the wrap up, like the fourth wall breaking kind of, that was really cute. It was definitely giving me kind of like Crypt Keeper vibes a little bit.
Yep.
So I like that. Yeah.
I immediately thought I didn't think that till Joe said that. First thing I thought was how the first Deadpool ended, where it was very much like,
okay,
hello everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and then he gives us the whole cable drop, and it's like, that's dope. But yeah, like I said, I think that was my favorite part of the whole episode, was him going through each of his kills, and it was just like,
yeah,
he did kill a lot of people. That's right. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Awesome. So now we're going to talk about some home video releases. I have some really awesome ones to share with y'all. So like this is stuff that's coming out this month. Starting off with season 5 of Rick and Morty. And I have to say, I was kind of like flabbergasted that they sent me this really nice steelbook. And I mean, who doesn't love Rick and Morty? I guess so. I guess you both are fans.
Huge fans of Rick and Morty.
I have not watched one episode.
Oh, okay.
Joe, you cannot be upset I haven't watched Cobra Kai and you haven't watched Rick and Morty. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. You can't be mad I haven't seen Back to the Future and you haven't seen Rick and Morty.
Well, Back to the
Rick
Future.
and Morty is legit Back to the Future for kids of today. 100%.
Right, I know, but Back to the Future predates that movie, the show, by like 30 years.
Nah, not even. I don't even know what that movie is. Go watch Rick and Morty.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Like it sucks that the fandom kind of sucks, but that's a lot of things right now. So also from Warner Brothers is the UHD of Wolf of Wall Street, which fantastic movie. I believe they ported all the features from the previous release. Awesome movie. I mean, what else is there to say? It's like a modern classic. So Warner Archives did 2 releases. They're only doing 2 releases this month. Ivanhoe and Angels with Dirty Faces. And what's kind of cool is, and I have to think some marketing genius did this. Home Alone, they have like the fake movie that Kevin watches?
Yeah.
Angels with Dirty Souls.
Yes. So I have to think that December, like, you know, the movie that they were kind of like low-key riffing on. So you know, like Warner Archives kind of been one of my favorite labels. Like they always kind of bring their A game when they come to like restoring stuff. So I got this beauty today from Film Detective, the Sherlock Holmes box set. And, you know, again, Film Detective like crushes it when it comes to like really awesome restorations. Like a lot of their stuff's like 2K, 4K. Really great stuff. I highly recommend. I haven't seen a single bad like release or transfer. There's another one I just got. I've never heard of this. Older film from the 40s. Looks interesting. I checked it out today, just check out the restoration, and it's like a stunning 4K. Mill Creek, this beauty, Street Fighter. Again, who doesn't love this movie? I love cheesy like 80s 90s, and this is the back.
That is actually really dope.
Yeah,
I like that.
That pack is dope.
Yeah, like I kind of love these. Yeah, so also from Mill Creek, I Dream of Jeannie came to Blu-ray for the first time in the US. Looks pretty good. I'm probably I don't know if you guys all like that, or it's maybe too campy, but I think
I've seen a few episodes over the course of my 28 years of life, and it's, you know, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think it's bad, but as Joe well knows, I am not a campy guy. It literally breaks me out in hives. I can't do it. But I did find it funny. I did enjoy it for what it was.
What are we talking about?
I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them. I mean, I'm older than you, so I've seen these shows, not when they were live, but
I was gonna say, Joe, don't make it sound like that. You did not watch this.
No, but I watched them in syndication. I watched them, you know, like Nick at Night. I wasn't a Dream of Jeannie fan, but I was more but I'm more of a Bewitched fan.
Bewitched, yeah.
Yeah, Bewitched was more of my my show, but I love but I also watched I Dream of Jeannie as well.
Nice. Yeah. It's a great set. Again, I spent some time checking it out. Looks really great. From Universal, we got the card counter.
I haven't watched that yet. I know it's out.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like ruin it, but it's a pretty interesting movie, and Paul Schrader is always pretty interesting to me. So I got a couple more from RLJE. This movie I think is like one of my favorite movies this year.
I heard I saw like a commercial about it, but I never checked it out.
Yeah, it's great. I actually just interviewed Josh Rubin for a second time. I interviewed him for Scare Me, and then for Werewolves, and yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's like if you like a messed up version of Clue. Is the best way to put it. And then Creepshow season 2 on Blu-ray. It's got some really cool features. And you know, I'm a little hot and cold on this on the first season, but I thought the second season was really good.
Okay.
So from Well Go, Hell Hath No Fury, which is a pretty you know, it's a pretty interesting basically World War II action movie. I mean, everybody's got to watch this over the holidays. I mean, it's
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
I saw just one.
Once?
Just once? Not a fan?
I was maybe 10. No, it wasn't that I wasn't necessarily a fan. I think I saw when I was 10, and it was just like, all right, cool. That was it. Never felt the need to go back. But I have seen it. I have seen it.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's interesting because I'm a big John Candy fan, and I also really like Steve Martin. I showed it to my husband, and he was like, yeah, he's like, it was okay. Like, it wasn't like, I wasn't side-splittingly funny, but he's like, it was, it was amusing. It's pretty good. I like it. It's definitely something that I watch every year.
I did
also,
have. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I did have a conversation with my mom. We were debating who the best faces of comedy movies were. And my mom threw out Steve Martin, I threw out Sandler and Will Ferrell. And we were going down the list of each of their movies. And Steve Martin isn't a guy that has the quantity. He has the quality, though. But the only problem is Will Ferrell and Adam Sandler have both. You know what I'm saying? They have so many movies, and some of them you can just throw in the garbage. But then they're those golden eggs that both of them laid. So when you mentioned Steve Martin, it just jogged me of like,
and then I like with Will Ferrell, and like they also like produce and also write.
Yeah, they're
or
super
co-write.
No, Adam McKay usually does a lot of Will Ferrell's movies.
Yeah,
Adam usually does, not anymore because apparently they're on the outs, but Adam is usually who's behind Will Ferrell.
I would agree with that. Will Ferrell is definitely, I mean, if like you're talking about like contemporary like comedians. Right. So also from Paramount is Harold and Maude. It's part of their Paramount Presents series. This is a really cool series. Like it has like a thing. I don't know if y'all seen this, but it's really great. Criterion had it, but then it went out of print. So if you're looking for something affordable, and again, it's like Hal Ashby is like amazing. And it's got some new features. Unfortunately, they weren't able to port anything over from the Criterion edition, but it has a new commentary. Cat Stevens talks about scoring the film. If you like dark comedies, it's a pitch black comedy. It's great. It deals with some very heavy topics like suicide, but again, the writing is so razor sharp that it kind of works, even though it's very morose, because it's also it's very beautiful and poignant, but it's very messed up.
There was a Netflix show called End of the Fucking World that is exactly the same way, where it's just uber depressing, but the writing is so rich. I fell in love with that show, and it looks like Netflix canceled it after 2 seasons, but damn, was it good, because it was just hitting on some real life things that people have to deal with, and it was very well done. So if this is anything like that, I'll definitely put it on my list of stuff to check out.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, like Ruth Gordon's amazing. Bud Cort. I don't know if you're familiar with their work, but like Ruth Gordon literally won an Oscar for Rosemary's Baby. So like she's always, she was the creepy neighbor. Another really cool Blu-ray that's making its Blu-ray debut from Paramount is Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead is when MTV was good.
Yeah. Again, it ports over everything. You can see the features, ports everything from the previous release. I got a chance to check it out. It looks great. I mean,
is that the 25th anniversary?
Yep. And so we're almost finished.
No, you're good.
I saw that movie in the theaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I bet that had to be fun with an audience.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I
definitely.
remember seeing that way too young on pay-per-view. So I don't know if y'all seen Gamora, but seasons 1 and 2 are available now from Kino.
No, I haven't.
And I was just told it has you can watch it English dubbed and HBO Max as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's subtitles and I'm not really into subtitles, but I
Wow.
heard it's a really good show. I've been told this for I think 2 years now to watch it.
But how are you going to watch Parasite?
I did. No, I watched Parasite.
Okay.
I did. And I got through it. But Parasite was probably the exception to my rule because Parasite was good.
Okay.
You know, I didn't really
let it
focus
slide.
on the subtitles too much. You can tell pretty much what's going on
Yeah.
on the screen with Parasite. But there are some other things that that I find myself reading, and when I'm reading, I'm taking my focus off the screen. So that's why I don't like subtitles.
Yeah. So that's really interesting because I know, like, I totally understand what you're saying. I think I get so used to it where it's almost like automatic. Like
Mhm.
I'm kind of synced in with. I don't know if that's just because I'm used to a lot of those.
Possible.
So, but yeah, no, I totally understand that. The other thing from Kino, their noir set, they just did their 5th box set. These are the what's included, and again, you know, I just like Warner Archives. I think like Kino does like an incredible job with their restorations. Like they really are top of their game. Also from them, The Long Goodbye. That's a classic. I don't know if y'all seen that one.
I haven't.
It's again, I had a chance to check out the features and check out the. I don't know if you can see there's a little bit of a glare, but that's kind of what's included. It's a ton of stuff, and the 4K is incredible. Like it really looks good. Hard Target, also from Kino. They also did a UHD release of this. John Woo, excellent. Again, I love dumb 80s, 90s action movies. And like, John Woo was the man at that, right? Like, Number 17, which is an old Hitchcock film, which is really exciting because they're doing this and they're doing another Hitchcock title in January, and it's I'm blanking on it, but if y'all are Hitchcock fans, that's coming out this month. And Ernst Lubitsch film, which again, I'm a big like old movie nerd, so I love stuff like this. Like lately they've been doing a lot of early Ernst Lubitsch, like he did Shop Around the Corner, which is really great. I don't know if you all seen that one with Jimmy Stewart. And yeah, so if that's your thing, that's coming out. And then really cool documentary about Picasso. And again, great 4K restoration. That's some of the stuff that they have. It's like a smorgasbord of features on that. And yeah, so that's a roundup of some really great stuff that's coming out this month. So I think that they're all really worth checking out. So yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to talk about some of our favorite alternative holiday movies. So whichever one of you wants to start that, that's fine.
I got two. I'll start off with Batman Returns. Beautiful movie. A movie people forget about. Because I can't tell you how many times when BVS came out and people were like, Batman kills, Batman never kills. Michael Keaton's Batman would never kill. And I'm like, all right, well, Michael Keaton's Batman took the fierest, of all fires and just set a guy on fire with the back of the Batmobile, and you're not telling me that he just randomly put himself out and survived. That guy died.
I think in that same scene he blew up a dude too. Yes,
he did. Again, the only reason people see it differently is those movies were more campy. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just like, oh, look, I drove my car through a car with two people in the back seat. Yeah, it was more playful, like, oh, I just flew him in the air with a grenade. The grenade exploded. Who cares? But it still to me represented Christmas. And look, we got the best gift anyone could ever receive on Christmas, and that was Michelle Pfeiffer as woman. Still to this day, love Michelle Pfeiffer. Still to this day.
Yeah,
I came out well before I was born, and she was still my childhood crush.
Yeah,
still is.
Also, when you say that hurts because I feel so old when you say that stuff like that.
Look, I get that all the time when I do podcasts with these guys. They're just like, "Oh my god, how I am
with us old people." You mean?
yes, all of you old people. No, but I mean, look, it came out when 80 what? 80?
June 1992.
92. Don't make it older than it is.
No. I'm out. Don't even feel old. I was just born the year after.
Oh, just the
year after. Like I just wanted to be clear. I wasn't born 2002.
You know well, let me give you a little context. I saw this as a 14-year-old teenager. So yeah.
So that was 92.
I'm podcasting grandpas.
Yeah.
Podcasting with my grandfathers in here. Let me see.
Oh, back in my day.
So yeah, that was it. Just, and again, just to bring some context, Mike, for our listeners, what we mean by this is I do wholeheartedly believe Batman Returns is a Christmas movie, but it does not embody the spirit of celebrating the actual holiday, which is why it is not a traditional Christmas movie. But it's no different than what Home Alone was. Home Alone's whole purpose wasn't the concept of Christmas. It was family and getting back together for Christmas. But you watch something like Miracle on 31st Street or whatever the hell. That's just Christmas. Whatever. I was in the same neighborhood. I just know my mom made us watch it every fucking year, and now I despise that movie. I hate it with every fiber of my being. But no, so to me, again, there are definitive Christmas movies, and then there are movies that take place during Christmas.
Yeah.
So Batman Returns is number one, and then number two, the greatest Christmas movie outside of Home Alone, even though Home Alone was just a child version of this movie, Die Hard. Die Hard is the ultimate Christmas movie. Home Alone is baby Die Hard. It's Die Hard for kids. Because you're not telling me that kid wasn't John McClane. You're just not telling me that.
You see my sweater?
Wait. Now I have a machine. When I tell you Kevin was just like, I don't know what those parents did to make a kid like that, but that was John McClane. That's John McClane's son. I don't know what that Die Hard movie was with Joel. What is it? No, Jai Courtney.
Oh, Die Harder or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, Die Harder, because Live Free or Die Hard was number 4.
Macaulay is definitely Bruce Willis's Die Hard son, 100%. They should just find a way to put those two things together. But no, Die Hard to me was the epitome of Christmas. And if anyone's asking, well, what do you mean? It took place during Christmas. Simple. There you go. So those are my two Christmas movies. I'm going Batman Returns for the greatest gift ever given, and Catwoman, and Die Hard, because come on.
Beautiful. Also, before we move on, I love both of your picks, by the way. Batman Returns I loved it as a kid. It's one of the few movies that I loved as a kid, but it holds up so well, as an adult. And I mean, people forget just how gorgeous that movie looked. I was looking up the DP, and his name is Stefan Kapatsky. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that. Seems like it's a Ukrainian name. But he also shot Edward Scissorhands. He was a cinematographer on The Thin Blue Line, which is
that actually makes a lot of sense, because Michael Keaton's Batman would not move his neck to save his fucking life. Neither did Edward Scissorhands. That man did not move his neck to save his life. So
well, they were both Tim Burton, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tim Burton did not like necks. Don't have a neck and come to set.
But what made me think about just how it was shot, it looks so gorgeous. And again, you know, when you with the holiday Christmas theme, I mean, that is such a gorgeous looking, like warm Christmassy movie, even though it's also kind of weird and bleak and strange, which is the holidays. So
I mean, look, nothing screams holidays like a short man biting your nose off, right?
Ooh.
Right? That doesn't make you want to get together with your family, snuggle up, and enjoy the holidays.
After like munching on a fish, right? Wasn't he eating a fish?
Yeah, he was raw, completely raw.
Always hated that scene.
I always hated seeing Penguin.
Penguin was disgusting.
It's funny how I think I just read something where Danny DeVito, like, he wants to
come back,
reprise his role as the Penguin, and I'm all for it.
I'm not. Now that I've seen now that I've seen what other penguins can look like, and I'm okay with it, I have no interest in going back to that horror movie.
Yeah, like I think it might be cool if they did like something kind of like with Spider-Man, with like a multiverse where they could bring back different iterations of the characters.
We're getting Michael Keaton back in so they could, and if they wanted to go that route.
That's true. I mean, because like I guess they're doing the Flashpoint thing with
just saying.
Let's not put those things out there.
He's like, no, cut it, stop.
Let's not do that. Danny had his time, and we enjoyed it. It was beautiful, but I don't need to see that face ever again. Not like that. Unless you just make it look more appealing, I guess. I don't know, but the way it looks,
possible.
Nightmares.
So Joe, what's some of your favorite non-traditional?
All right. Well, I had to take a couple off the list because of Juwaan, because Die Hard definitely. I mean, who's not going to put Die Hard on there? But
I'm going to put Die Hard.
I'm going to go Gremlins. Gremlins is definitely one. Gremlin puts you into the holiday spirit. I mean, it starts off with Baby Please Come Home. So you know, that's the very first song we hear when the credits roll. I loved it. I loved it. There's another movie I seen as a kid, you know, because I'm old. So Gremlins is there. We talked about Edward Scissorhands. That's another film that has the Christmas element set around Christmas time with the snow and whatever in the town. Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon is another film just like Die Hard. You know, it takes place around Christmas, but has nothing to do with Christmas, you know. So that was going to be my action film because I had a feeling that was going to be taken because Die Hard is a popular film. A couple of other comedies I did like. One newer than the other is Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
that was set around Christmas time in that town. And Trading Places, an old 80s film with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, which is another one that was also set around Christmas time. But here are two deep cuts. Look Who's Talking Now, which was the third film in the franchise of Look Who's Talking, with Danny DeVito and Diane Keaton as dogs. They've both voiced a male and female dog. But that was set around, they want, the whole big thing was Travolta's character meeting them up for Christmas because he was stranded because of a storm. And has nothing to do with Christmas, but Mean Girls. If it wasn't for Mean Girls, we wouldn't have gotten the Jingle Bell Rock dance. Come on, man. Mean Girls. Jingle Bell
and
Rock.
you got like the pretty classic None for You, Glen Coco.
Yeah.
Bro, not only was that movie one of the greatest movies ever created.
Love me.
It had one of the greatest raps ever created. It just, everything about that movie. Damn, now you're gonna make me go watch it again, bro. That movie is a masterpiece.
Like I'm doing you a disfavor.
No,
I'm
you're
doing
not.
you a disservice. I mean,
it's the burden of now knowing that I can't go to sleep until I watch that movie now. Like that.
Who
that's
can?
why I'm
Who
upset.
can?
It was, oh my God, Joe, this is why I love you. That movie was, yes, that's the epitome of Christmas. If I could dream up what I'd want to be surrounded by for Christmas, it would be everything that was in that movie.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, it was great.
Nothing left out. Yes.
Yeah. I was kind of curious if y'all have heard of The Ref. It's kind of like a
Yes. The Ref is another one. The Ref was something because I also, so these were the movies that I know personally, but I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't leaving anything out. But The Ref definitely comes up as like an alternative movie or set around that time, and that was another film that you could put up there. I do remember The Ref.
I
Oh, you haven't seen The Ref?
not.
So it's a little cringe now because it has Kevin Spacey in it, but it's really good. I mean, I'm trying to think what I want to say without kind of spoiling it, but
No, don't even worry.
I wouldn't have even remembered. Honestly, I wouldn't even remembered Spacey was in it. I just know it for Dennis Leary.
Yeah. That's a
but
good one.
I do remember The Ref.
Yeah, it's basically they take this family hostage on Christmas Eve. Yeah, wait, I'm trying to think who else is in that.
Look it up.
Yeah, you said Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary, yes. Judy Davis. Kristen Baranski was in it. Christine Baranski is in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one again. I kind of have it never made its way to Blu-ray, but there is a DVD. I guess it's out of print, but I found it at a thrift store and picked it up. So no, good picks. I mean, Gremlins is like pretty classic.
I love Gremlins.
I think that and I kind of mentioned Gremlins in my one of my picks because I think like it fits the same kind of tone. So my first pick was Krampus, which was the relatively recent. Yeah. You all seen that?
I haven't, but I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
I watched the trailer for it.
Yeah, I've seen
it's awesome. And if you're like into the full experience, like it, not sponsored, but Scream Factory put out an amazing Ultra HD version of it. It's like a little bit longer cut of the movie, and it's such a fun movie. I did a op-ed where I kind of gush all over it, but I talk about basically how it perfectly straddles a line of horror and comedy, and also just being like a kind of a almost sentimental Christmas movie also, but it doesn't go too overboard with the sentimentality of it. And it was interesting because like earlier today, in fact, I was talking to the director of Better Watch Out, which was one of my favorite movies. I don't know if y'all seen that one. No. Okay. If you have Shudder, it's on Shudder right now, and I love it so much, and y'all should watch it immediately. But anyways, me and the director were talking about how it's difficult to kind of like waver from like horror and comedy, but also it being a Christmas movie. And I think with like, in terms of like balancing that tone, I think Krampus does it really well as also. And I think the only other movie to kind of be like a pretty heartfelt, but also like creature feature was Gremlins. I feel like that's the only movie that kind of is able to make that recipe kind of work. Because it is a lot of stuff. And I think, you know, you all know this as like movie and TV fans, when you add a bunch of stuff in to the mix, it usually turns out crappy.
Yeah.
It takes a real artist to take all that stuff, but able to finesse it in a way that is actually really awesome. It's like, juggling these tones. I mean, it's something that like Edgar Wright has like made a career out of, but it's not easy. But some of these people are so talented, they make it look easy, really. So that's my first pick, and then my second pick is Better Watch Out. Just because I love it, and like I said, today I got to talk to the director, and that was cool. He was telling me that they actually shot that in Australia in the dead of summer. Just wild. So I have a friend that makes these like holiday Hallmark movies.
Mm-hmm.
And like people give him shit, but he's like, it's an awesome vacation, and they send us to great places, and it's like it's a relatively easy shoot, and it's a good living.
I can tell you as someone whose mother and aunt watch Hallmark Christmas movies in October.
Nice.
He's doing the Lord's work as far as they're concerned. So
yeah, I mean they're fun movies, but like what's wild is he's like, yeah, we have to like bundle up in summer, and then we have to like act like it's cold, and we have to like make fake snow, and we have to get into holiday spirit when it's like 100 degrees out.
I will say though, one of the benefits, and this is not a knock whatsoever, one of the benefits for them should be, not saying it is, because you'd have to get someone to admit to this, but one of the benefits is I do not know anyone that walks into these Hallmark movies and are looking for crisp acting. They're just looking for the spirit of the tone of what the movies are. So it could be the worst acting they've ever seen, but if at the end they shed one tear just because it's the spirit of the holiday, you've done your job. So luckily, if there's any scenes where them pretending to be cold doesn't look crisp, they don't have to worry about someone at home like, oh my God, that's so fake. They're not even really cold. Like, they suspend all of belief as we do watching a man swing from webs out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty incredible. And like again, Better Watch Out is again, so I will say, you brought up Home Alone, and I will say that it kind of is like a super messed up version of Home Alone, where you have like an intruder and really messed up stuff happens. I don't want to spoil it. But you think it's going one place, it totally flips it on its head. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's darkly funny. Like, it's not like something like Werewolves Within is like a straight up horror comedy. This isn't like, I wouldn't say it's a horror comedy, but I will say that it's like it's still like, I consider it like a black comedy, even though it's maybe not overtly so, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I don't think there should ever be a horror movie that doesn't have comedic tones, because then I kind of feel like you're becoming a drama, and I don't necessarily want that, because I need a break, especially if it's something that's really intensely scary. I need a break somewhere in between there. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll go into like a full-on shock. So I do need Freddy Krueger, I got your nose. Like, I do need that somewhere in there. Or it just becomes too consuming. So to me, I think every horror movie should have a little bit of a breather where the audience can go, okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why they usually cast that comedic. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not comedic. Comic relief. They usually cast a comic relief within the cast itself. I'm okay with that. I don't know if I'll give you a perfect example, because you're the one that told me about it. I think I saw it on your Instagram. The new Texas Chainsaw drop on Netflix trailer. Yeah, I watched that. Now, if he's wielding that chainsaw and he's cracking jokes, I'm not going to believe it.
Well, yeah, no, I don't need that. Like, what I mean more so is like when you watch Get Out, right?
Right.
And you're just like, man, this is so intense.
Yeah.
And then they make like a really funny joke, and you're just like, okay, that's a quick break.
Yeah.
Before we
Yeah.
dive
You
right
definitely
back
need
into
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need whoever my main killer is just cracking jokes the whole time.
Right.
I just need there to be somebody that provides relief in this movie that's sometimes so
Always.
consuming. You're like, I feel like I'm choking. Like I need some air. And that one quick joke is the, whew, okay, all right, let's get me right back into it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need Freddy Krueger just cracking jokes all over the place, but I do need that quick break where I can take a breath.
Yeah, and this definitely has that, and like it definitely knows when to be like super serious. Like there's some like moments that I think they handle the like death almost like not as just like it seems a little more like there's more pathos to it, as I guess is what I'm trying to say, than like just a body count. You know, it's like 30 people in a cast and they all get picked off and we don't really know who they are anyways. It's not like that. It's a small cast, so you really get to know these characters really well. And you know, speaking of, like, the cast is pretty incredible. Like the two leads were from The Visit, that M. Night Shyamalan movie. Did you guys see that?
I there's not many M. Night Shyamalan movies I've seen that I enjoy.
I know, but The Visit's really good.
I see. I have a friend who tries to convince me that every time we have this argument, and I'm sorry. I don't. I did
need
not
to make sure, because I'm pretty sure I did see this.
Yeah, with the old people, the grandparents, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, I've seen it. I
will say that I am like hot and cold with M. Night's movies, but I will always like go to bat with The Visit. It's really good. It almost feels like a stripped down, like what he should have been doing after Sixth Sense, maybe. Even though there was some post Sixth Sense movies I liked of his, but like it kind of went back to his like roots, and I like that it's kind of set in this rural Pennsylvania setting, and that's kind of where I'm originally from. So yeah. Well, anyways, the two actors from that to play the kids, and they're fantastic in The Visit, and they're also in Better Watch Out.
Yeah.
And I learned I was today years old when I learned that they're Australian. They're native Australian actors.
No good actors come from USA. That's been the case for like 15 years now. Every time you go, oh man, like, yeah, Hugh Jackman, one of us. Then you hear him in an interview, and you're just like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Oh, the kid from Stranger Things is in it.
Which one?
The one that plays was it Billy? What was his name? The one that ends up getting killed at the end of the last season.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
Billy.
Spoiler alert. Is it Billy?
Yeah, it's Billy.
Yeah,
and you know what, Joe? That season came out like 2 years ago. So
spoiler alert.
People will
people
will be fine.
Oh, Virginia Madsen's in this too. Better watch out. I like Virginia Madsen.
She's great. We were talking about like her and her husband. Wait, I'm pulling it up. Or do you already have the cast up?
I did. Why? Oh, he's in it too, the husband?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the husband's name is, but he's like a pretty famous let me look it up. My IMDb on my phone is acting up.
Wait a minute, the husband in the series, the husband in real life? I mean, the husband in the movie,
in the show,
the movie,
or the
you
movie.
about,
I mean,
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
That is a big name.
Yeah, like he. I mean, everybody kind of knows his voice, though.
Yeah,
I
know him from Seinfeld. I know him as Putty from Seinfeld.
Yeah. Like like him and Virginia Madsen. This was something that the director was telling me, was they kind of were able to like riff off each other. Like there was like this whole thing with Virginia Madsen's character, like it's just like trying to convince her husband just to like come out of the closet because she thinks he's gay. And this isn't even like a big plot point. This is just like one scene of like two really talented actors just letting go and just making something hilarious. So yeah, gosh, I cannot recommend it enough. If you have a Shudder account, it's currently on there, and it's probably on like VOD and stuff if you don't, but it is well worth checking out. It was like a $2 million movie, but it looks like a multi-million-dollar movie. The production designer is working on stuff like the new Thor movie. So some pretty big stuff. So yeah, it's got an insane amount of talent behind it. So yep.
Now I haven't seen this film, but I'm surprised it's not either on it's neither one on your list. I guess I don't know if you guys seen it. Black Christmas.
I love
which one?
Well, that's the thing. I was gonna watch the original from '74. I didn't see either one, but if I was gonna watch one, I'd probably start with the original.
Yeah,
I love
just based who's in it.
I love both. I love both.
How was not on your list?
Because I first of all, I wasn't going honorable mention. I only picked two.
No, not even honorable. I thought because we didn't rank these. If we would have ranked them, I wouldn't have said half the ones I did.
No. I'm saying my list was only too deep.
Gotcha.
I only went too deep.
I should have only went in too deep.
And that was kind of my bad because I wasn't sure like time wise. That's why I was like, well, I'll just go with like a safe, like for two. But yeah, no, I mean it's like we can definitely do some honorable mentions. I mean,
like I named like 8 films. I don't need. I definitely.
No, man. Yeah, like all great picks.
Thanks.
So yeah, like so Juwaan, you said you like you also like the other Black Christmases, right? Like they had like the oh gosh, I think it was like mid 2000s, and then they had a more recent.
Yeah.
And like I love all three of those for different reasons. Like the original is a classic. I've seen it like 100 times. And like the new one is really interesting because that was one of the last projects Bob Clark worked on before he passed away. So like he actually had a lot of input into how he wanted that. Even though he didn't direct it, he came up with, I believe like an original story about like Billy and like the like backstory and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And then the new one is just bonkers. Like it's like it's a mess, but it's so goddamn entertaining too.
Yep. I'm with you on that.
Like when you start getting into like magic and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I know this is insane, but I like where you're going.
And you know what? I'm a big fan of movies that just aren't good. Yeah. I like some movies that are just not good. They're not good. Like I tell people all the time, if we ever did a top 10 horror movie list, Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2 make my list.
They were great.
Every time. No.
I love them.
Those movies are not good, but they're sure as hell entertaining.
So yeah. I'm with Joe. I'm with Joe on I don't see them as bad. I think that they're actually pretty clever. Yeah. And
I swear I feel as though they're meant to be bad. But again, like I just said, I love it because it would make my top 10 list every time. Every single time. But each time I watch those movies, I just go, I see why it's not so solidified that we're getting a third. I 100% see why.
Yeah.
Because most people probably go in and they're like, it's going to be so scary. And you spend the whole time laughing. And then you get to the end and you're just like, well, that wasn't scary. Like, you know, like, what was that? And it's like, yeah, it's kind of a new age. it's kind of like Groundhog's Day meets Scream, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way, you're kind of just like, well, no one ever really watches Scream and goes, damn, I was terrified. It's more so like, this is just ridiculous. But it's good, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not saying it's like the worst movie ever or anything. Again, it would make my top 10 list because me and Kanan, we're huge fans of that franchise. We wanted to keep going. We wanted to keep going until she's in a damn wheelchair at an old age. Make Happy Death Day 26. You know what I mean? That's how good they are.
But yeah, so Joe, have you seen any of the Black Christmases or
no? And I'm just finding out now that there was a third. I had no idea there was one in between the two. I'm looking at it now, 2006.
Yeah, and then
got a decent cast too. I'm surprised this one has got the lowest rating.
Oh, the 2006 one.
Yeah.
Well, because people are dumb.
But and it's really short. It's not even an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like they bring back one of
it's
the
like this.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about a movie that looks so gorgeous, I mean, the cinematography in that like is really really well done. And then like when you get to like the 2019 was it 2018 or 2019?
2019, you're right.
Okay.
Wait, I'm looking at it now. You know what? I'm sorry, I take that back. Well, it depends on where you go. I was looking at IMDb. IMDb rates the 2019 one worse than the 2006.
Well, so I'm not like, this isn't really a spoiler, but like they kind of lean into like a Me Too thing, and some people didn't like that, but I actually thought that was kind of like they did it in a way that I think was pretty interesting and clever and funny, and I think that they were again it just it gets so bananas that it's like you can't help but love it. So I'd be really curious what you think of the it would be interesting to have you watch all three and then rank them.
Okay.
Yes, it would be.
But like I said, I definitely wanted to start, so I'm glad I was going to do it that way. I wanted to start because I heard the original is the best.
Yeah,
I was definitely going to start with that one.
The original is really good. It's I mean, there are some scenes that legit are creepy, like not a lot of movies like get under my skin, but like that there's definitely some parts that like are like really like next level creepy.
Okay.
And you also
Hostel.
That's how I felt about Hostel. Nothing usually gets under my skin, but when I saw Hostel, I was just like, oh, you went out of your way to be nasty as hell. Like,
there was also a reason though that I wanted to watch the original first. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I have found that whenever I watch a film, sometimes by accident, I don't even realize I'm watching a remake, but whenever I watch a remake of a film, and that's my first introduction to the film, I'll try to watch the original and I'm like, no, I can't. This is either too dated or so. Perfect example of that for me was I Spit on Your Grave. I watched the remake, the first remake, because I know there's like 3 or 4 of them now, but I watched the first one first. Then my friend's like, oh, you got to watch the original. So we rented it. We were sitting in the house watching it. I'm like, dude, I can't watch this. This is horrible. It was just so cheesy and it was so dated. And after seeing the remake, I don't know. Do you guys feel that? Like, have you ever watched a remake, not even knowing, or maybe you did know, and you watch it first and then you go try to watch an original and you don't like it as much?
Well, I mean, for me, like I like grungy, low budget, cheesy. So
okay. All right, fair. That's fair.
But no, I get what you're saying though. I totally get that, because it's like, you know, you go to something that's newer and a little more polished, and then you know, it's almost like it's kind of a whiplash when you go to something that's, you know, older and, you know, the production value wasn't great. So yeah, no, I can totally see that, especially with like something like I Spit on Your Grave, which was probably made for like $20 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and not to knock on that movie, because
no, I can see why or how at the time, for that time period, how it would be very, very like, oh wow, like this is
really shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's definitely it was something that I watched as a teenager, probably way too young, but yeah, it's heavy stuff. But
it's not for teens. No.
well, I mean, like as a teen, like I would rent, so I would rent like whatever looked like the worst, basically.
I'm busting your butt. I was watching these. I mean, and I know I'm not going to make my parents sound any good, but I was watching movies like they used to make me watch movies like this when I was a kid. I mean, they would tease me like, "Oh, Joe, cover your eyes." But I was watching R-rated films. I mean, maybe not to an extent like I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
Because there's some graphic scenes in that one. But I was watching stuff like that. When I was a lot younger than teens.
Yeah.
I'm only fooling with you.
No, my dad would own up to that. My dad would tell you, like, yeah, hell yeah, of course I took him to go see that. I don't think you should be that proud, but okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I kind of think actually like Terminator 2 was my first R-rated movie.
Okay.
Which, I mean, looking back, I mean, it didn't even really seem like it should be rated R.
No.
But for that time,
so what is it? Curses? What put it at the R?
Probably the violence. But I mean, again, there was no.
Remember, every time he would spawn, he'd be butt ass naked. So that also.
Yeah, that's true. Right? Yeah, I guess
it wouldn't show the front, but still, you right. Gotta kind of throw that in there in case the parents like, yeah, let me take my 8-year-old to go see this cool Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and then it's just like
there's Arnold's ass.
Butt.
Oh, there
it is. There's Arnold's butt.
There's Robert Patrick. Was Robert? Yeah, Robert Patrick was naked too, or no?
Oh yeah, because I guess he did when he
spawned. Yeah,
when he changed bodies. Naked. Yeah, when he changed bodies, because he was. I was gonna say he was metal. Why was he naked? But yeah, whenever he changed bodies.
Right. The only thing that I kind of remember that was also maybe a little bit graphic for R was just like them like I guess peeling his arm with like the ectoskeleton stuff. That was but again, I mean, that you could probably see on basic cable now.
But back then you had to be very careful, because remember, there was a difference between rated R and NC. What was it, NC 17 or NC 19 or whatever? Basically, if that was in front of anything, they were telling you you're this close to porn. Anytime that rating was
that reminds me, now it's gonna kill me, and you guys probably know. I was gonna look it up, but let me just ask you guys: was it Indiana Jones? What movie was it that made the PG-13 rating?
So actually it was Gremlins, and it was a combination. It was Gremlins, and it was
I thought it was Indiana Jones.
Well, you're right. It was one of the indie movies, and I'm trying to remember which, but
it had to be Temple. It had to be Temple, because Last Crusade was 89, and Temple I think was 84, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the same year Gremlins came out.
Same year, yeah. So that's probably spot on. Let me just look.
I just couldn't remember. Yeah, it was like the first film, and because they didn't know how to rate it, so that was the first one that got the PG-13.
So Temple of Doom was PG, so I think that and Gremlins was like the 1-2 punch of after these.
Red Dawn.
Maybe we should.
If you Google it, it's Red Dawn.
Oh.
But it says Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom created the PG-13 rating.
Well, so I think what they mean by that is like that in Gremlins, they were like, well, yeah, you slapped a PG on it, but maybe it should have been like somewhere in between an R and a PG.
Got it. And then Red Dawn was the first film to have the rating.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because that's what comes up. If you look up first film with PG-13 rating, Red Dawn says it made history, but then it also talks about Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, which is what I remember. But
yeah,
that makes sense. It was too late at that point, I guess, to give it that rating.
And I think, I think Gremlins was also kind of part of that, where it was like the 1-2 punch of like Spielberg projects. Because I know Joe Dante did Gremlins, but I mean, like Spielberg like produced that, didn't he? And maybe co-wrote it.
You gotta be careful. Yeah, I'd be careful with ratings today, especially making it clear because Seth Rogen actually in his production company got sued for Sausage Party because a mom brought like a whole bunch of her kids and her kids' friends to go see it because they thought it was just like a funny kids movie about food.
Mhm.
And when they got there and they're like having sex as food and like cursing and whatnot, it was just like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Like, what?
What was
Yeah,
the
but
rating?
it
Because
was rated
I thought
though.
it was known it was raunchy.
It was rated R, but here was the problem. I don't think anyone told her between buying the ticket and her then going in to go sit down and watch it.
Well, I hope they threw that out because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it worked because if you were going to sue anybody, it would be the theater.
Although I will, there was like a really funny anecdote. Like, it's also a Seth Rogen movie, Observe and Report. Have y'all seen that?
Yes, I
Heard of
have.
that?
Yes.
Yep.
So there was this little old man, and I guess his grandkids that went to see that. And I don't know if they thought it was like Paul Blart Mall Cop, but I remember like watching them like leave the theater after a little while, like when it starts to get really, because if you remember that movie like gets pretty hardcore.
Yes, it does. It does. That's just Seth Rogen's genetic makeup that he can't do the movie without it.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of love Observe and Report. I feel like
I think it's his best movie. I know that thing that he did on HBO Max people rank high, but Observe and Report is easily one of his best movies because
it's kind of like, why don't we do Taxi Driver, but like as a really dark comedy?
Exactly. Yes. Yep. Easily one of my all-time favorite Seth Rogen movies.
Yeah.
Because you feel it, and it doesn't feel like your traditional "I'm just here to get high," you know what I'm saying, kind of Seth Rogen movie. It's deep. It's deep. He gets layered in it, so I did appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it with all the crazy police stuff going on. I mean, it definitely is a really weird movie to watch now, but yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like I remember like seeing Hostel 2 with like legit kids at the theater. And I don't mean like kids as in teens. I mean like single digit kids.
Do people not know that your job as the person who hands out tickets is to, when the parent goes, hey, can I get 6 for Hostel? And there's 5 kids next to her. Your job is to say, ma'am, this is a movie not meant for
you. I mean, I guess like as long as they have a parent with them, they can see it, right?
No. If the parent says, I don't care, and then walks them in there, you have to just let them. But I'm saying there's just no way that parent knew what Hostel was. And they brought children. I mean, unless you were trying to grow your own hostel with these children and throw them into future murderers. I don't think that parent knew what that movie was till you sit down and you're just like,
I don't know. I mean, I'm like Hostel 2, you would at least kind of know what Hostel 1 was, right?
Maybe not. I don't know. In my mind, I would like to believe that someone gave her the wrong information. Someone meant Hotel 2. And she was just like, oh, Hostel 2? Not a problem. Kids, let's go to the movies. I have to imagine that was the case because there's just no way.
I don't know. I just remember the ending of that movie with them playing kickball with someone's head.
Yep.
Yes.
And like thinking about these kids in this theater, like
bro, not even that far. The scene with the chick with the scythe, where she's slicing the girl right above him and all the blood falling down. It's just like, yeah, man, there's children here. What? I remember I almost got fired from GameStop because I would never make sales. It was around when Grand Theft Auto was like really big, like the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell parents I would come in there for their 10-year-old, like, you know, you can go to the strip club and get a lap dance and then take her home and have sex with her, right? And she was just like, excuse me? And I'm like, I'm just telling you what's in this game. You can get high, you can murder people, you can steal cars. And the kid is just standing there like,
the kid's probably like,
I do not want to sell this to your mom. And then she walks in one day and goes, what did you sell me and my kid? So I'm like, I'm telling you up front, I'd rather have him mad at me than her coming down to try to buy.
Then I would have turned around and was like, well, what did you buy for your kid?
No, I mean,
my boss used to always say, Juwaan, it's a sale. Just tell her that it's MA, let her read it, and then just make the sale. And I'm like, no. You leave me to open the store too often alone. I'm not dealing with this crazy lady alone. That's not happening.
Yeah, dude, I feel like that's pretty admirable too. Like it's yeah, I mean it's kind of unfortunate that like if you're gonna have kids and you know you should at least kind of be hip to what's going on.
Yeah. Because these kids get crafty. That kid was, I tell you, that kid's gonna grow up and be a salesman. He's just like, Mom, it's about like growing your own businesses and stuff, which you can do in Grand Theft Auto. It's like showing you how to make money. Like he was really selling her, and she was just like, okay, all right, okay. And she's like, well, then what's the MA for? And he's like, it's like you have to like defend some of your territories or whatever. And she's just like, okay, yeah, ring me up. And I'm just like, he wasn't lying to you, but he left out a lot. A lot. I could just randomly
pick up prostitutes.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, no, keep going, kid. What about the prostitute part? What about the strip club part, the weed part? The fact that you could just drop a grenade in front of someone and watch them blow up. Tell her all these things. So yeah, my whole mantra to my boss was, I don't care if the kid's upset. I can't sell this game. And then she comes back looking to bite my head off. I can't do it. Because
ultimately it's not the boss that's gonna get chewed out.
No, it's me that gets all her spit in my face, and she goes, what was this when the car was shaking when the woman got in? And I'm like, look, ma'am, it says it right on the back of the box. Like it says it right there. So ratings for movies and games is very important. Please, people, please, if you're gonna take your kids to any movies, please check the rating.
Little PSA.
I went with my aunt and my little sister to go see Deadpool 2. I knew the first Deadpool was crazy, right? I did not know the second one was gonna get even crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking over at my little sister and I'm just like, cover your ears. Cover your eyes.
It works in another way though, too, guys. It works in another way where you're sitting in the theater, right? And you're watching a well-known either R-rated film or something that's scary or something like that. And all of a sudden you hear like this baby crying, or not a baby, but like a kid crying. I'm looking over, I'm like, why did you take, why?
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen? The mother or father has to pick him up or her up and then go out because he doesn't want to disturb the film. And then the father or mother's not watching the film.
Yeah. I never understand that. I remember I went to go see Dark Knight Rises and a fight almost broke out because this lady's baby just kept crying. And I'm like, and then she goes, it's a baby. What do you expect? And he's like, I'm not complaining about your baby crying at ShopRite. I'm complaining about you being in a movie with an infant. Get the infant out of here. Like, well, I'm sorry. I'm a single mom who can't find time to just watch it. It's like, well, look, you gave up that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't punish us. Yeah. And it was like every time something big was happening, it's just wah, and it's like, oh God,
I had a guy screaming at a mother like that too. Same exact thing, but he was basically saying to the kid, I'm not yelling at you. I don't want you to think this is your mom.
This is your mom's fault. Right?
Yeah. Like, he wasn't yelling at the kid for crying. He's like, what do you expect? What did you expect when you brought him? I don't know if it was a girl or boy, but what did you expect when you brought it? Like, why would you?
Yeah. Especially if you bring the kid and then they get bored and they're like, I want to leave. No, wait till the movie's over. Well, I'm going to have a hissy fit till you get me up out of here. And it's like, well, look, one of y'all better go. and soon, or I'm throwing fists with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because like they're not going to give you your money back for your ticket when you go out there and go, hey, I didn't hear a whole hour and 30 minutes of this movie. This kid was in here crying. They're going to go, all right, well, enjoy your day. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Just please be aware of ratings. Please be aware of, we're not all nice-hearted enough to sit through crying for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Some of us enjoy a good throat punch, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, and on that note, because my you can cut this part. My battery's just about on its last leg. But yeah, so if y'all have any final thoughts before we wrap this up.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mike for creating this concept. It's a really cool concept.
Oh, thank you.
Fun. You showed me a lot of releases, mainly because once streaming and digital came out, I completely forgot what physical DVDs were. So to see them was really
yeah. I mean, it's actually like, not to get like too geeky, but it's geek vibes. So we're gonna get geeky, but it's a really pretty awesome time for home video right now with some pretty awesome releases. So like I said, like Kino Lorber is like been crushing it with some really cool genre stuff. So yeah, well, yeah, thank you guys both for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks for the invite, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. So we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Good night, guys.